Welcome, everybody. This is a good week. We're getting into the second week of July. I hope everyone had a happy 4th. Y'all heard me ride solo last week. I'm Ben Goosen, and guess who's back? Back again.
Was good? Your boy Sage the Monk. Oh, what's this in the background? It's not dark anymore. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's not dark anymore.
Yo, you have to. So, Sage the Mark. Obviously, I went solo last week because Sage the Mark is starting to record this. For those of y'all that watch this live, Sage the Mark has a new. What's the name of your new? What do you want to call it? The Mark Dome. You gotta have a name with this.
The market out. The Marcavelli. Oh, we'll
The Marcavelli Center. The Marcavelli Center.
The Marcavelli Center. There we go.
Yeah, that one's good. I like that. I can go with that. The Marcavelli Center. That's actually pretty good. Tupac is going to be our guest next week. But man, we got a lot to get into, a ton to get into. So, all right, where do we start this week? Because I feel like IT security guy, you have security certifications. Do you want to start with that?
Let's roll, man. We're gonna get there one way or another. So I guess let's just cut right through it, man. Let's do this.
We might. So, hey, wait, real quick. Sorry to cut you off because I missed you. I missed you last week, by the way. But shout outs to Wrestling Network. Thank you for signing in real quick. Really appreciate you. You're coming in hot. He said, yo, you're not on the super highway anymore.
net neutrality, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no homeless dudes walking by anymore for just an experimental thing. So my information, man, my information's out there. Your information's out there. The Wrestling Network, do you subscribe? Wrestling Network, for those of y'all listening to the podcast, doing the audio version, we do this live on YouTube every Thursday night. Wrestling Network, shout outs to you because you're one of the live listeners. I don't know if your information was breached, but I know mine was. My information's out there. I had to change my password and everything. So talk to me about, we got a lot to cover. Talk to me about the breach this week. I'm not happy about it.
About the Verizon breach?
I'm talking about the WWE breach. My information.
My bad, man. You gotta get on that T-Mobile, man. That Poser Mobile, man.
So, why is my information floating around because of a WWE breach if they back stuff up on a completely different server, a completely different cloud?
And so, I say it like this, man. Just because you got it in the cloud doesn't mean that it's automatically secure, right? It doesn't. Most errors that happen or most breaches that occur because of human error. I mean, it's that simple. Credentials get breached, people get phished. You're only as strong as your weakest link, just period. And what was it? It was AWS, I think, that they had it under, and then that ended up getting popped. And they were still in the investigation period, so I haven't really read too much up on what they've discovered so far. I don't think they've actually fully disclosed it, but yeah, some of that information is out there, man. Organization as an enterprise, the one thing that I always caution is that you should be doing audits, having a third party come in and do audits, whether it's against your employees, whether it's against your sensitive data. And it's important that when you do these audits, you do them at least once a year. I always recommend like at least twice a year, and never with the same security firm, because everyone has their own different tools and methods to try to actually get into the data, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was not a fan, but it's not the first time my info has been breached. The big Target breach a couple years ago got me. And then when I changed my passwords, got some new cards, I went out and spent some money, and then I got breached. So, yeah, I've been hacked a bunch of times.
But think of it this way. You get free credit reports for life, bro.
Yeah, you're right. Because every time I get breached, I get we're going to monitor your credit score for 2 years or 5 years. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that at all. So this week, man, I thought about, no, I don't want to get into it. Let's save it. Let's save the Paige and Alberto Del Rio thing. Because that's, man, for those of y'all listening, we do the podcast. Sage the Mark and Ben Goosen are in San Antonio. Alberto Del Rio, San Antonio. And it's, man, this yeah, we'll get into that in a bit because that's a topic of the week in wrestling. But I want to get into, let's go. You want to go Great Balls of Fire? What'd you think about Great Balls of Fire?
Gracious, Great Balls of Fire. Oh man, I actually surprisingly I actually loved it, man. I thought the only gripe that I really had about the entire pay-per-view was maybe the booking where the matches were placed, which we're going to talk about that a little bit further because I want to play a little game. Want to play a game. But yeah, the placements of the matches were kind of weird, like Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins starting, which was kind of a bit odd. I probably would have switched that out. And then the way that the main event ended, I love the main event. Don't get me wrong. I love the main event, but I just felt like the very last part of the storytelling was just a little bit off where one F5 and Joe was out. But to their credit, they've kind of played into it on Raw the next night to kind of make up for it, which we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But overall, I thought it was a great pay-per-view.
I went into it with pretty high expectations, so therefore they did not meet my expectations because I thought, man, Miz and Ambrose can, even though they've been feuding forever, can put on a fun match. Now they have the Miz Taraj thing going on, and I just thought I was pretty pumped for a lot of matches. So Seth lost clean, so I'll give Bray that. I like seeing Bray get a clean win over top guy, but it doesn't matter because he'll go on a win streak and then a losing streak, then a win streak, then a losing streak. So I just feel like it didn't really matter. And then, so I like the Strowman and Roman match because Strowman won clean, regardless of the crazy ending with the. I thought that was actually the match of the night because it ended with Strowman getting the clean win and then getting destroyed in the ambulance, but then coming out of the ambulance and limping off like, nah, I got this. Leave me alone. So I loved that match. The Joe Brock thing, I thought would have been a bit closer, but Brock in a clutch, but it kind of wrapped up and he sold it, but I saw the F5 coming and I didn't know if Joe was going to kick out or not, but he didn't. Ms. Dean didn't impress me. I didn't watch the pre-show with Tozawa. Obviously, he lost, but it just if I'd give it a 5. Like I wasn't impressed, but I wasn't bored. I think.
What about the women's match, man? I thought the women's match was at least one or two, either match of the night or second to match of the night.
Second for sure, and only because it showed, and I'm a sucker for a heel, it showed Alexa when she took the count out. Most wrestlers, when they take the count out, they walk off and pretend like they're hurt, or they do the, oh, I don't need this, I'm getting out of here. But she smiled at Sasha like, I could beat you.
I'm gonna catch that check.
Yep, I could beat you, but I'm good. I don't need this. I'm good. So I like that, and I love everything. I love everything that I see on TV about Alexa Bliss. She's good. She can go. So, and it makes the feud drag on. I don't know where they're gonna go with it or whatever, but I thought it was just it was good. It was good. Great Balls of Fire was a 5. I think Money in the Bank was a 6, maybe a 7. because I didn't have any expectations at all. So I really liked Money in the Bank and Great Balls of Fire. I went in with higher expectations than I should have. But you mentioned earlier that it led into an interesting segment on Raw. Dude, how awesome was that segment? With
I oh man, I absolutely loved it. So just to preface, I did watch it on Hulu Plus. So unfortunately, some of the sections or some of this part of the segment was cut off. But your boy was informed, and I found the raw link, and no pun intended. But I found the raw link of what happened, and it was flipping amazing. First off, I love the fact that Joe just came down the ring and just got straight up in Lesnar's face, talking that mess, and then put Roman Reigns in check. I love it, man. I absolutely loved it. And Paul Heyman, like the look on Paul Heyman's face when Joe was addressing Brock, like it was just great. Like he looked at when Roman talked, he was just all like, this dude don't scare me. This dude don't scare me. But when Joe talked, Paul Heyman got scared. I loved it, man. I thought it was flipping amazing, and breaking breaking kayfabe and telling Joe this is for real. I loved it, man. It was just so great. I loved it.
Oh, that was a great segment. That segment, so I watched Raw. In San Antonio, Raw comes on. We're Central Time, 7 to 10. So I watched Raw. I didn't start Raw till like 9:30, so I was tired, bro. I was real tired, and I mean, I chill. I finished Raw and everything, but that segment, I actually sat on I was on the edge of my seat. Like, what got me is Roman came out, and I knew it was coming. I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping Braun would come out all beat up, because if he came out all beat up and challenged Brock, I would have lost it. Been like, man, this dude Braun is legit. But Roman came out. I knew that was gonna happen. Roman came out, and when Joe came out, that's what got me. I was like, man, this is good. And then Brock dropping the SH bomb and the P bomb, which was cut out of Hulu, as you told me. It it was just awesome, man. Like those two dudes and Brock getting in Joe's face and them two dudes trading kind of the intensity and then Roman kind of backing off and then Joe saying, yo, you never beat me. And that kind of hyped up Roman. So I think next week, and I really, really hope for this, in the match them two have, Braun Strowman interferes. So it sets up a fatal four-way between just four complete brutal like hosses. Like, and Wrestling Network in the chat, he's watching live. He's saying he doesn't want to see a fatal four-way. Fatal four-ways are normally crap. Yeah, they are. They truly are. What ends up happening in a lot of fatal four-ways is you have two people outside the ring, two people inside. That's like the formula, right? Like it's a solid formula. It's like Money in the Bank. You normally have 2, 3, 4 people in the ring, and then 2, 3, 4 people selling bumps outside. So could you? But the thing I like about those four guys is I still want to see more from Joe and Brock, and then I want to see Joe beat up Roman, and I want to see all three of those dudes beat up Roman. But imagine when it's the fatal four-way and you get Strowman and Brock in the ring at the same time. I just think it's four. Anytime you have four people in the ring and Roman, this is going to sound way worse than I intended to sound. Anytime you have a fatal four-way and Roman is the worst overall, like character and in-ring out of all four of them, or the most hated, the most booed, dude, that's a good thing. That's entertaining to me. What would you think of a fatal four-way at SummerSlam?
So I agree with you. You know, as much as we don't like Roman being the guy, I'll say that I actually like it when he's in a position to get beat up by other people. I think it just makes it intriguing. Whether or not it happens or not, it makes me invested. Like that's my investment factor in this whole thing is, are they going to gang up on Roman Reigns to show and bring out the kryptonite so this dude can just fall to the knee and take the pen? So that I like. This in particular is a bit different because now you've got 4 brawlers. Like, I don't think we've ever seen like 4 brawlers in a fatal 4-way. Usually you have 2 brawlers, you have 1 technician and a high flyer for the combination, and that's that's where you get the whole burnout and 2-1-2 and one thing. But you've got like legitimate 4. It's just gonna be a slugfest. There's gonna be power bombs. There's gonna be clotheslines. There's gonna be reverse choke slams. Like, excited about this, man. I'm excited. This is something I don't think we've ever seen before. Like, I don't think we've ever seen a fatal 4-way with just all.
Well, and they could all sell. That's the awesome thing. Like, Brock is as crazy as he is. Like, dude could sell. Joe can sell. Braun could, like, Roman. All these guys can sell, and it puts Roman in the like the ultimate underdog role, because we know if they had a fatal 4-way that, and this is all speculation, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but if they have a Roman fatal 4-way with, or a Roman, Strowman, Brock, and Joe fatal 4-way, Roman's going to have, at some point within 5 minutes left in the match, he's going to have his spots where he's Superman punching and spearing people, and the fans there, and it's in Brooklyn, they're going to be booing, like, boo, oh, and we're going to be thinking, oh, this is this is Roman Reigns, John Cena comeback. Oh man, this is done. This is it. But we're going to look forward to it. And when he has that comeback, but he gets F5'd, he gets big booted or something by Strowman. Like, you're right, man. If they have a fatal 4-way, I think that I think it could be really cool. Like, in Wrestling Network, I don't mind Reigns himself. He's decent at wrestling. It's just the notion that he stays the main guy for 20 years. I'll be 40 when Reigns is done. This is stupid. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say welcome to my world, because I've been hating on John Cena for now about 15 years, hoping he would lose, and then I got over it, and I just accepted it for what it was, and now he has some really awesome matches with some, AJ Styles, and he's kind of giving back to the business. So yeah, that on Raw, I thought that was great. The Miz Taraj. So they're legit. Where's our boy Ringo Flake? He normally calls us in and leaves us a voicemail every week on his Bo Dallas updates.
Come on, Ringo, 419-777 IRWP. We need that update. We need that scoop. Yo, Bo Dallas, Bo Leave getting a Mizzy. Oh my God, dude. His acceptance speech was flipping amazing, bro. What was it that he said? He said, what was it? Oh man, I gotta go back and find it. What he said was freaking hilarious. Like, I don't know, I can't remember, but it was freaking funny, man. And I'm legit happy for both of these guys. Like, I've said it time and time again. Isn't Bo Dallas? Why isn't Curtis Axel? Why aren't they on the car, like on TV? I'm just chalk it up to the Miz, man. The Miz is making them relevant, man. And his talking smack or raw talk when he had those 2 on during Great Balls of Fire was great as well.
Yeah,
making everybody relevant.
Those guys. It's really good to see those guys on TV. And you might be hearing OG the Cat. OG the Cat might be making an appearance here in a minute. That damn cat. So I thought it's nice to see Bo Dallas, man. It's nice to see him. He's not doing the Bo Leave thing, in my opinion, anymore. He's changed his look. We'll probably get some tag team matches out of these guys. I think there's a lot to be said. And in the chat, the live listeners, and again, for those of y'all that listen to the podcast, if you want to tune in on YouTube, where we do this live every week, you're more than welcome to. Just go to the It's Real Wrestling podcast channel, and you'll get the push notification. Of course, you got to subscribe and hit the little bell symbol to get the push notification for when we go live. What do you guys think of seeing a gender at SummerSlam? That'll be horrible. Well, from the way things are looking, I think that we're going to get Jinder. Well, I guess Jinder Rusev will be at Battleground. And from there, who knows what's going to happen. But I hope it doesn't happen, because we've talked about it on the podcast before. We don't want to see Cena fed to gender fed to Cena, but we'll get to that in a minute with our SmackDown review. But yeah, I thought Raw was it was okay. Oh, you know what I meant to ask you, dude? Enzo sucks. Enzo sucks, bro. Bad.
Got punked out by Roman Reigns and kicked off the tour bus.
No, I don't know anything about that, but he sucks. Like, Enzo sucks. Enzo, I love his work on the mic, and I would love to see him get the hugest push, because he could rock it on the mic. But he jobbed a Big Cass. Bad. A Great Balls of Fire. That was stupid, right?
It's funny that he jobbed to him that bad, and then Cass is already in a feud with the Big Show. Like, it just seems like it was stringed together like that, and I don't like it at all. I can't stand it at all, man.
So, talk to me about this. What were you? And the chat is blowing up right now, the live chat. So, what is the kicked off the bus thing in the Roman Reigns? What
Yeah,
did I miss something?
I try not to dab too much in the dirt sheets because it's can be like a spiraling hole. But apparently, there's a report out there that he got kicked off the bus. Got some heat on the tour bus. Roman Reigns asserted his will, and he got kicked off the tour bus. Whether or not it's real or not, I don't know, man. Like I said, I try not to pay too much attention to the dirt sheets, but that's the rumor that's out there, man.
What do you get kicked off for?
Gift the gab, bro. Gift the gab.
How? Who cares? You're on a bus. Who gets? Nah. You know what? I've talked about this before. The dirt sheets.
Meltzer reported, bro. Meltzer reported. Just kidding.
So I'm not going to say anything about Meltzer that other than I respect that he's been relevant in the wrestling world for a long time. I think that's awesome. You know, good work for him. Hopefully he gets a good chunk of change, or he's got a fun hobby that he's doing. Are stupid. I saw a dirt sheet the other day post Enzo and Cass to split up. And this, no, not the other day, excuse me, a couple weeks ago. Enzo and Cass to split up. Big Cass in Doghouse. Click here for more. And I'm like, all this is clickbait advertising. It was terrible. So I'm not a fan. I don't go too much into detail on the clickbait. But I mean, Enzo sucks, right? Like, he's good on the mic, but so how okay, give me a timetable. How long will it be before Enzo's in 205?
Enzo looks like some political heat is rumored to be the reason why they have heat or something like that. But the thing is, I don't think he fits in 205 Live, man. I think that you're thinking it from a size perspective, but if like his wrestling style does not fit the cruiserweights at all. To be honest with you, like if we're gonna be real about it, like the cruiserweights could actually put on a good match with all of the heavyweights. I mean, we've already seen it, you know, and I keep telling you this, that Finn Balor versus Rich Swann was probably one of the best matches of 2016 that people slept on. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So you told me to watch that match on our early episodes of the podcast when we first started, and I never did. So what I think you're doing here, Stephen Thatch just said in the chat, "Hey Goose, meow." When you log in and download our podcast, unfortunately, sometimes we let stuff slip, and there's a little E for explicit by our name, and I apologize for that. But Stephen Thatch, you did dick. I hate this cat. So Enzo would breathe in some mic skills into the cruiserweight division, because the cruiserweight division absolute zero mic skills, because there's nobody there with the mic skills on the level of Enzo Amore. Enzo Amore is probably top 5, top 7 tops in the WWE in whole when it comes to mic skills. So if you could bring that, especially since, and we will definitely talk about this in a couple seconds, the cruiserweight division lost one of their biggest stars in this past week since our last episode. I think that Enzo would some life into it. And I mean, it's been proven in the WWE, if you could talk and you have charisma, you don't have to be that good of a wrestler. So you don't have to do flips. Like the cruiserweight guys, everybody expects them to do flips and high-flying maneuvers and tope suicidas and dives over the top rope. That's kind of what you expect. But if you get a guy who could just plain American just wrestle, but he's great on the mic. I mean, look at Hulk Hogan. He was horrible in the ring. But we loved him when he would Hulk up, and he was good on the mic. He was charismatic. So that's why I think okay, so are you telling me before the end of the 2017, Enzo will not be in the cruiserweight division?
Enzo will not step foot into 205 Live ever.
So okay? Will Enzo Amore be in the WWE 1 year from now?
I mean, I think there's a place for him. I honestly, I think that he would be good on commentary, but I don't want to see him in 205 Live. I just don't think that he fits in 205 Live. Like his wrestling style doesn't fit in there. He's a mid-carder, and maybe a jobber mid-carder at best. He's great at getting smashed, bro. Like that Rusev thrashing that he got was probably one of the best thrashings I've ever seen in my entire life. That seems to suit his role, and at some point he'll be able to come up and get the Intercontinental belt by surprise. You know, maybe they get the Money in the Bank 1 year, he gets it, cashes in or whatever. But I don't see him. I don't see him dropping down past mid-card at all.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Maybe he flounders on Raw and ends up on SmackDown in a year. Maybe he even reunites as a heel with Carmella, and if James Ellsworth around, maybe he's. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. But I touched on something a second ago, and that's Austin Aries. Why is he gone? And I know nothing about this. I just know he was released last week, and I know nothing.
You a damn lie, Goose. You a damn lie, bro. Look, man, I preface this, and this is my own personal opinion, okay? Austin Aries is phenomenal in the ring. He really is. And he can truly go against anyone, whether it's cruiserweights, whether it's heavyweights. Like, this guy can go. The problem with Austin Aries is that he doesn't feel, in my opinion, he doesn't feel like he feels like he's bigger than what he actually is. Like, he's that chihuahua that barks, doesn't get what he wants, packs up. He did it in TNA, and that's one of the things that annoyed me so much. He did it in TNA, and he's doing it here. I think he could have done great things in 205 Live and then eventually got bumped up, but he just wanted to go straight to the top. You know what I mean? Bobby Roode, for God's sakes, Bobby Roode is down in NXT, which we all know Bobby Roode should have been on the main roster coming up, but he's doing the dues in NXT, making it better and coming up. Austin Aries, he has no patience. Like, everything that I've seen, he just doesn't have any patience for that. He just wants to be at the top level. He wants to be fighting for the world title belt instead of just putting on a great show. Like, he puts on a great show. He's great at commentary as well. Like, these bananas everywhere were freaking hilarious. Like, he's got the gift, but it has to always be on his terms, if that makes sense.
Okay, I could see that. I mean, it doesn't help that I'm sure he's pushing 40, so he thinks his clock is ticking. But I don't know, man. I loved what Austin Aries brought to the table in WWE, and it sucks that he won't be around and he'll NA or GFW or ROH if he hasn't burned bridges there.
And that's the thing. Like he's a draw, but he's not that big in a that big of a draw. Like he feels like he's a bigger draw than what he actually is. Um, and I think that had he just waited and let the system work for him, I think it would have eventually gotten there. But he has to remember that this crowd is a different crowd. It's not like your like your independent crowds. They've got to get time to know you. They've got to get time to grow with you in order for you to be able to get big. Just because you come, just because you're well known in the independent circuit and you come straight to, to the E, unless you're AJ Styles, which he even had a little bit of a warm up coming up too, but like unless you're that type of a caliber of a name, like don't expect to be getting that merch sales right off the bat. Like it's not gonna happen, man. You're gifted, you're talented. We love to see you in the ring. We do. We love to see you in the ring. We love to see what you do. But just focus on making the product better, and then let's get you up to where you need to be. You're not even a year in, man. You're not even 6 months in. Like, well, I guess he is a year in because he did serve some time in NXT, but I, I don't know what that guy. This might be the last time we see Austin Aries.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you can't compare yourself to AJ Styles because he's the rule. No himself to AJ Styles. Definitely the exception, not the rule. So, I wish the best for Austin Aries, and it'd be nice to see him on 205 Live. Maybe he'll come back one day, maybe he won't. But with 205 Live, I think the fresh air to have Austin Aries on there. And you know why I could say it was a breath of fresh air? Because guess who went to 205 Live this week?
You a dirty bastard, Ben Goosen.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some active stuff in the chat saying Enzo to SmackDown a feud with Ellsworth and Aries was a flop in 205 Live. Well, speaking of flops in 205 Live, I went to 205 Live this week. I went to SmackDown this week here in San Antonio. And I got to admit, after SmackDown ended, and I had a blast, by the way, after SmackDown ended, percent easily of the crowd took off. 205 Live was pretty bare bones. Then it ended with Nakamura and Baron Corbin in a dark match, which was pretty cool. I marked out big time for Nakamura coming out, just to getting to see his entrance twice that night and to sing to the tune of the Nakamura song. But yeah, 205 and SmackDown, I thought SmackDown was decent. I think I'm biased because I was there live, but I marked out when Cena US Open Challenge because I really thought we were going to get a free SmackDown show with Cena Styles and their awesome matches. So one thing I noticed on SmackDown, we got a clean win for Jinder Mahal. They're going to give this guy clean wins for a while because he's got the push. He's got the push. You notice this week we had Elias Sampson lose clean. Mahal beat the Perfect 10. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of Elias Sampson losing clean and Ty Dillinger losing clean back-to-back nights for heel and face. I didn't like that this week.
But it's different, man. It's not something that you see often and all the time. And you bring up a good thing for me. The us as fans, like we criticize the product because it's too predictable. But then when they give us something that's different, we crap all over it as well. So like, what is it, man? Like we've seen face versus face and heel versus heel put on some good matches on SmackDown. And yet we complain that we don't like that. But they were good matches and they were different. Like, we can't have our cake and eat it too when it comes to that, man. We've got to either enjoy the product for what it is and enjoy the nuances that they give to us, or we just got to say, hey, you know what? We like the same stuff over and over again. We like the predictability of knowing who's going to win and who's going to lose at the pay-per-view. Like, we can't have it both ways, man.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's good point. You know, I'll give you that. I'll say good point. SmackDown was fun. What'd you think of SmackDown Live? I watched it. I was there. I mean, I thought it was fun. I had a great time.
Yeah, I hate you, Goose, because I should have been there and I wasn't. But I definitely marked out when I marked out, but I marked out being upset when John Cena came out, bro. Because I was hoping that it was going to be like Nakamura or uh, even Mike Bennett, or maybe Bobby Roode would have answered the call. You know, that's what I wanted to see. Like, I was, yes, and then John Cena's music hit, and I was like, no, they're gonna take the belt off of AJ. No. So kudos that's why I love wrestling, man. This is why I love wrestling, man, because it gives you those feels, man. Those when you get jerked one way and then they take you a completely different way. It's just fun, man. It's like, I mean, that's what it's all about, man. So I definitely enjoyed that. Fashion Files was hilarious with Tyler Breeze and that lasso of truth on Zack Ryder and them teasing Mojo Riley for the heel turn. So I definitely enjoyed that. And I gotta say, man, like, I am really, really intrigued between the storyline between Tamina and Lana. Like, I'm really interested to see what the heck is going on between those two.
Well, Lana definitely needs something because she's basically a jobber. I thought, you know, I mean, we'll see how that whole thing plays out and how that, you know, whole thing turns
But
out.
let me ask you, Goose, like, Lana's first match with Naomi versus her third match, don't you just find it kind of odd that they act like they like, in my eyes, her wrestling ability on day one was amazing compared to how she jobbed out in 3 seconds or 5 seconds on her third
Yeah, I
match.
agree. I
Think about it, like,
agree.
what's going on, man?
I agree. I think that it's. I think that I don't know. I don't know where they're going with Lana. I really don't. I don't know why you'd let her have a long match and then short and then shorter unless they've completely given up, which is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe she'll end up with Rusev again. Who knows? So my answer is
Wrestle.
truly,
She
I
can
don't know.
wrestle. I don't. That's what I don't get. She can wrestle. Let her wrestle. Like, please. But
Yeah, I agree.
maybe something with this Tamina thing will take. Maybe this is the reason why they pulled back on it. Maybe there's this storyline with Tamina.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So I thought SmackDown was fun. I had a good time going live. I cheered and I got to see everybody that I wanted to see, and I had a great time. So let's get into the juicy topic of the week. Let's cut the crap. All right.
Oh, we talking about that Mayweather?
No, we're not going to go into Mayweather McGregor. Let's go into Mayweather McGregor here in a couple weeks because
Okay.
I feel like me and you, we'll see how it goes, but we might have some special guests who could chime in on the Mayweather McGregor scene.
Sounds good.
We'll see. See if we could work that out with everybody's schedules. No, Paige and Del Rio. So tell me okay, for the listeners out there, if you haven't heard, you should have, but Sage, fill everybody in real quick, real briefly, on what you know about the Paige and Del Rio situation.
Man, you know I'm bad at storytelling. You're gonna make me recap this whole thing, bro. You're terrible, man. So both of them were in the airport, and the police were called, and their stories were kind of like all over the place. I think TMZ had originally broken the story, was just my understanding, twice actually. And I guess the first report was that, hey, Del Rio was throwing stuff at a fan because they took pictures of them, and Paige might have been trying to, how do you say, defend the fan kind of thing. And then it kind of went to like, oh no, Del Rio is battering Paige. And then all of a sudden we get the tape. So we listen to the tape. The tape goes on. Paige is definitely in distraught. She's, screaming and yelling that, her displeasure for Del Rio, and that she's, I believe, she says something about her calling the cops and whatnot. And Del Rio's going back and saying, "Go ahead, call the cops. We'll get them here right now because you hit me or you battered me," or something like that, kind of thing. And then from there, and this is the oddest part about it, before Paige responds again to the rumors, because I think she made a response and said that, what was it? What was her first response, Goose?
That a fan was watching, and she basically blamed it on the fan that was watching, and they threw the drink on the fan, I think. That's what it was.
Yeah, I think that was right. But, okay, so in between that response and then her final response, I believe her brother might have made a statement to the fact that Del Rio, and this is just pure speculation, but that Del Rio might be putting hands on her. And I hope to God this is not going on, but that's something that was out there. And then Paige came out and said that, hey, they were at a bar or at a restaurant in the airport, and she got upset. And during her being upset, she ended up, like, choice words were exchanged between the two. She throws a drink at Del Rio in his face. One of the fans comes out and starts taking a picture. And then Del Rio goes ape crap. Well, she didn't say he went ape crap, but that he was defending her for the fan to stop taking pictures and stuff like that. Storytelling. I don't know why he told me. He told me to be quick, man. It was like 5 minutes.
Yep. Well, everything you said, I'm going to take that 5 minutes, and I'm going to take everything that's been said on the internet this week, and I'm going to call complete bullshit. Complete. So let's face the facts. 100%. We've talked about it before on the podcast. Del Rio's 40, something like that. And we all know about the Il Na Na. If you don't know about the Il Na Na, go listen to some Lil Kim albums. Go look it up on Urban Dictionary. We all know if you're in your 40s, we all know what you want when you're looking for somebody in your 20s. You're looking for some fun.
How nasty can you get all the way to the hood, to your neck of the woods? It's rip. One thing's for sure.
So we all know, we know what could be on your mind. What could be on your mind. I'm not saying it's on my mind, but I'm saying it's what could be on your mind. And there's a big, almost 20-year age gap. That's a tough relationship to have. I know I sound like a typical podcast media dude, but I don't give a shit. I really don't. I think that these two have some issues they got to iron out. Quite frankly, since you're public figures on public TV, on TNA, on WWE, when you got issues, you don't cause drama, you don't cause stuff in the public. And maybe since Paige is in her low 20s, she's got to, understand that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not in that situation. But either which way, I don't care who you are. If you're a figure on TV, on Tom Brady, no, I'm not comparing LeBron, Tom Brady, Jay-Z, Beyonce. Pretty much if you're on TV and you get into any type of public skirmish, You know TMZ is going to be there real quick to pay anybody who has cell phone footage. So I'm going to tell everybody, if you're on TV, man, if you're on TV, don't go to the club, don't get drunk, don't get into fights, don't do stuff in public. Literally, if there's 100 people around you, 90 of them have video cameras on their cell phone. They'll pay you a quick $100. Send me that cell phone footage. All right, $100. Who's not gonna make a quick $100? About that, man, it was distasteful. So I asked you this when the leak happened, and I'm gonna ask you now. You just cut their ties with Paige?
I mean, I don't think she has any intention of coming back at all. It's funny because she's asked for her release and they've denied her release. But Austin Aries just asked for his release and he got it in like nearly within the same day. So like there has to be something in this contract that we're not seeing or that we are not attributed to that's preventing them from pulling the trigger and cutting their losses. And it might have something to do with the movie, this whole Total Divas. But
because and you can't compare that because think about it. Paige, she had her information and her private videos leaked. Austin Aries didn't. He just said, "Hey, can I get released? Is that cool?" Yeah. All right, man. Take it easy if you're not happy. Paige is a different case. They've got a movie they're trying to build to come after and to make. And if you're trying to make a movie on somebody and you've from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% of the movie for all we know, you can't just say, "Oh, well, let's back out on this investment that we did." Money back, especially when if Paige leaves Del Rio and does all this blah 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 and goes back to WWE Championship, that right there is the ultimate comeback story, aka the ending to the movie. So I think they're putting off the movie to say, all right, what's the ending of this movie going to be? Because that's where the money's at.
So are you saying that they're going to wait until she ODs to let the movie go out?
I can't answer that. I don't.
That's
I
what
don't
it
know.
sounds like you're saying, man.
Well, no, you don't have to. It's not that she dies. It's the comeback story. So I don't think WWE is going to sit there and like if me and you ran WWE, I wouldn't say, "Hey, Sage, we can make a lot of money on this." If she dies, I would say, "Sage, we can make a lot of money on the comeback story, but we need to get this girl some help and do everything we can to get this person some help for maybe they have the best life, maybe they have the worst life, whatever the case may be. We need to get this person to have a comeback story. If not, the ending of the movie that me and you have invested in is going to be crap. We're going to make a movie about somebody who left and got into a bunch of domestic violence issues and then just end the movie. No, this is
Allegedly.
business. This is business. We're going to end the movie on this family, this huge family heritage, somebody who made it to the WWE and then left after 2 failed drug tests. I'm not letting my movie end like that. I think of the business. You're going to disrespect my business and fail drug test and then show up at TNA or GFW or whatever the hell it's called these days. You're going to show up and yes, there's pictures out there that you showed me, Sage, that say she's sitting in a front row. You're going to go to a competitor after failing 2 drug tests and think I'm going to make this Oscar-winning, this amazing movie about you? Hell nah. No. It doesn't work like that. I would say, Sage, this person, they're young. It's all good. We've all been young. We've all done whatever we do when they're young. We got to get the comeback story because this person is such a good person. They're good in the ring, good heart, great family. We got to get them back. How do we get them back? And go ahead.
Paige back, bro. They're not. Like, I get what you're saying, but they're not actively trying to get her back at all. They're sticking behind the contract, and it's cheaper to pay her until this movie is quote unquote completed, whatever ultimately happens, I'll agree with you on that piece, right? The money is probably in the ending of it. I just, uh, I would just hate for that to actually be the reason, because it seems, to me, it seems kind of shady. Like, you're gonna wait until she possibly returns, or maybe we'll end it with, alleged domestic abuse, or the alleged substance abuse that ends up in her ultimate demise.
They've already
That's
started. They've
shady,
already
man.
started the movie. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice at this point. If I made a movie about Sage's life, and then Sage said, "Man, yeah, I got the infosec. I got the security clearance. I got the security degree. I got the security certifications." And then the ending of the movie is he was a part of the WWE breach. I would say, man, this ending sucks. This ending, just like your WWE draft, sucks. It's horrible. So I can't. I think they should hold on to Paige because they've got a contract with her. Why not? And plus, she's young. And then you have to remember, Sage, in her contract, when her contract renews, when you're off TV for a long time, that drives your price down. You're Cleveland's Brown fan. You're a LeBron James fan. Me, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. We're sports fans. We know very well when you're not in the spotlight, your contract price is driven down. So think about it. Paige right now, what is her value? I don't think she has a high value if they renew her contract. And we all know the WWE will pay you more than anybody else. But she just doesn't her value on the free agent market's not very high. So you let her ride out whatever she's
That's,
got, and then you could re-sign her for pennies on the dollar.
but that's more of a reason to let her go, dude. Like, her stock is falling. She is on a downward spiral. We all see it. The movies is probably not going to happen. If they're waiting for the ending that's not ultimately coming yet, you might as well just cut your losses, bro. I mean, just like they cut the losses for X-Men Origins Magneto, they need to cut the losses with this one as well. Like, that's let her fly. Just let her fly. You've done everything that you could to support her, to get her to come to the light side, but she doesn't want to do that. She's a grown woman. She's 23 years old. She's making her own decisions. Hopefully it'll be for the best decisions, and she'll turn her life around, and wreck that we see is coming doesn't actually come to fruition. I hope that. I hope for the best for her, but a horse that's not going to cross the finish line, man.
Betting on a horse with a couple broken legs. So let me ask you then. You mentioned, and we've been talking about the Page movie. So I got to ask, if you were the director of the Page movie, if you were the director of the Page movie, we're gonna go with a casting call. Get a little casting call. So, okay, if we made the Page movie, yo, and this is gonna get good. And for those of y'all who watched live, I would love to hear who y'all put in the chat. Who would you cast? What celebrity would you cast as Paige? And the other
Oh
actors. I'll get in
man.
the other actors in a minute.
Oh man. You know, I would I would cast Lucy Liu, and this is the reason why.
What
This
the
is the
hell is
reason
that?
why. This is the reason why. Yo, if 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 an Anglo kid can play Airbender, and Scarlett Johansson can play an Asian woman, a cybernetic Asian woman, then Lucy Liu can play Paige.
That's stupid.
Feel me? I'm just saying.
That would be the
That's who I would cast.
okay.
Lucy
I
Liu.
would go with Lucy Liu in high school was my wallpaper. It took me 2 hours and 45 minutes on 56K to download that wallpaper. It's when Charlie's Angels came out, but Lucy Liu was my wallpaper. So I would say, what's that girl from Twilight?
Kristen
Stewart?
something. Kristen Stewart.
I'd go with Kristen Stewart as Paige, and for Del Rio, if we're gonna do the full Paige life story, I would go with Del Rio as being Benicio del Toro.
Damn, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good pick.
He's a big guy.
He is. What about Benjamin Pratt?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so let me ask you then. So, you got Paige in the movie. Who would you cast as her English family? You have to throw Christian Bale in there, right?
Looks like though.
I would go for her parents. I would go for in the Dark Knight series. What's the name of that actor who plays Alfred the butler in the fucking Dark Knight movies?
Michael Caine, son, Sir Michael Caine.
Yeah, I'd go with Michael Caine as her dad.
No, Sir Michael Caine.
I would go with Sir Michael Caine as her dad. Would be oh man, who would be a good? Who would be
loud.
a good? Yeah,
and athletic.
Who could we get for Paige's mom? If you guys are watching live, throw some stuff in the chat. Who could we get for Paige's mom? They don't even have to be. Oh, no. I was gonna say the lead singer of the Cranberries. No, I don't know.
Gwen Stefani?
No, we need somebody.
You don't like that? Don't speak. I know just what you're saying.
I'd go Whoopi Goldberg. I'd switch it up.
There you go.
I'd go Whoopi Goldberg, so people are like, wait a minute, wait.
That blackwashing?
Yeah, it's a reverse Whoopi Goldberg Ted Danson dating. I would say
we just lost 10 followers, bro.
Yeah, we did. I'd say, damn, I don't know. Just whoever. Elizabeth Hurley would play Paige's parents. So who would play Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods?
You're so wrong, dude.
Yo. Oh, Meryl Streep. Stephen Thatch in the chat. Meryl Streep would be badass as Paige's mom. So Woods would be played by none other than the hottest, blackest actor in the world, and the only actor who the only person who's half black, half Indian, a little bit of white, who plays a character in the media fashion is Ben Goosen. So I would probably play Xavier Woods. When it comes to Brad Maddox, I would use Tobey Maguire, fan fame.
Oh man, you're so funny.
Yeah, who would play Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods?
Oh man, I'm not even gonna go there.
Wait, did we even pick who would play Paige? Be a perfect Paige? I got it. And this is no joke. Like, in all seriousness, the girl from the dragon tattoo.
Oh yes. That would be.
She was in. You know who I'm talking about? She was in Rooney Mara. She was in Nightmare on Elm Street, the reboot. I'm a big Nightmare on Elm Street guy. That was a tough one to swallow. And girl with the dragon tattoo. She'd be a good Paige. And then I'm gonna go with for Xavier Woods and Brad Maddox. What if you go with Leonardo DiCaprio as Brad Maddox? Obviously, he ain't gonna play Xavier Woods. And
he's a method actor. He could do anything.
yeah, he really could. And then for he played Brad Maddox, and then
Kid from the new Rocky movie.
no, I thought about him, Michael B. Jordan. I thought about him, but oh no, oh God, Childish Gambino. He's gonna be in the new Star Wars movie, and he plays Simba in the new Lion King movie.
Oh yeah. I forgot his name.
Donald Glover. I think Donald Glover would be an awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, Xavier Woods. And then who else is there? Did we already pick a Del Rio, Javier Bardem, and it's like 10 dudes who play Del Rio. Benjamin Pratt, that's right. And who would play Vince McMahon? What about Mel Gibson?
Oh man, yo, Vince could play Vince, bro.
Yeah, good point.
Ain't nobody could do Vince like Vince McMahon.
Great point. Yo, we need to direct this movie.
I ain't directed shit, bro.
Yeah, me neither. Shit. Yeah, me neither.
I can't even storytell, man.
Well, I don't have anything else for this week. Do you have anything else? I think we covered a lot in an hour. Like, surprisingly, we did a good job this week.
We did. Before we hit the shout outs, I do got to get your opinion on who you think the mystery person in the storyline with Kurt Angle and Corey Graves.
I already know who it is because Kurt Angle texted me last week and said, I'm a big fan of the podcast. And he said, I can't subscribe. Stay anonymous. And I was like, oh, fuck you, Kurt. Well, I'd have to say, oh, man. So you know that I am anti-spoilers. And if you remember right, if you listen to the podcast, it might have been the end of March, where I predicted to you, Sage, what I think is going to happen after WrestleMania with our WrestleMania predictions. And that podcast also stated who I thought was going to be the new GM at Raw, and it was Kurt Angle. I have to say I hope to see that it's Dixie Carter that maybe he's in love with, because if you watch the Kurt Angle 24/7, I tried to watch it this past week, but I tried to watch it after SmackDown, so I was exhausted. Dixie Carter is on there, right?
She is on there, man. And that's who I think it is too, son. We actually going to get Dixie Carter, son. And you know what that means, man? We might even get the broken gimmick. It's going to be amazing.
I don't know if we'll get a broken gimmick, but I think that since Dixie Carter has no ownership in GFW TNA, she's a free agent. And I think it would be the equivalent of kind of when they bought in Eric Bischoff, 10, 15 years ago. But imagine if Kurt Angle brings in Dixie Carter and they run that whole I tried to run your company out of business angle. I think it'll set up to pretty much a Triple H Stephanie match versus Dixie Carter and Kurt Angle. Maybe not. Who knows? Or like a mixed gender match. But when I saw her on, I think it was the Kurt Angle special, I thought that was, first off, shot, like, props to the WWE. I thought that was so awesome that they interviewed her and that she gave her honest opinion. But maybe that means, I think that's a super stretch, because I think, quite frankly, Dixie Carter sold that company. And I know if I was Dixie Carter and I sold a company for a couple million and somebody said, hey, do you mind coming to work next week? I'd be like, hell nah. I'm on this beach. I have no desire to go to work. But that I'm glad me and you are are on the same page. So, for lack of a better term, I'm glad me and you are on the same page.
So
So
terrible,
I didn't have anything else. Did you want to get in the shout-outs?
bro. Yeah, let's get into these shout-outs, son. All right, man. Well, we got a little bit of a laundry list here, so I'm gonna start from the top. So we got Justin S. Thanks so much for commenting, talking about that Pacquiao fight. It's gonna be a little bit long just because I've been out of the game for so long. But we got Francis Bettis. We got Kenneth Thunder. Thank you so much for retweeting. Kylie Ray. Yo, hopefully we're seeing you at the Mae Young Classic, but they continue to be part of the movement. Tammy at Keeler73, thank you so much for following us. Give that quick go shout out there. We got Kyle Rennie at Kyle LES.
Who else do we got? We got a bunch of people this week. Tons of people this week. And I mean, it just goes to show that we had a lot of interaction on Twitter. I think people were hitting us up on YouTube.
Savior. Appreciate you retweeting us.
We've got a ton of interaction this week.
Greg and Kyle Dean. Kyle Dean keeping it up there in the UK. We've got Heel Larson. Thanks so much, Heel Larson. Alexia Kobe Galanzowski. He's got an actual podcast out there. So y'all go and follow him on Twitter at Kobe Galanzowski, Galenzoski. Got Abel, the Diva Bible, Usual Suspects, Jordan Grace. She was actually in the ambulance scene on Great Balls of Fire. Both her and Ray's boyfriend. And then Monteros Mockington, thank you so much. Then welcome to the movement, buddy. Thanks so much for following us and subscribing. And NoDQ.com, WWE News, thank you so much for following us, guys. And that's it for the shout-outs. Ben Goosen, where can they find you, son?
IRWP.us and on Twitter. You know, I don't get a lot of love on Twitter, but that's okay because, quite frankly, I don't give a lot of love on Twitter. So you got to give to get. Sometimes you give, sometimes you get. Who knows what's going to happen, but you could follow me on Twitter at Ben_Goosen. Same thing on Twitch. Where can they find you at, bro?
Oh, you can find your boy Sage the Mark at Sage the Mark on Twitter. Don't forget to hit Real Wrestle Cast. Let me hit that @ symbol as well. We are also on Instagram at It's Real Wrestle. Actually, it's Real Wrestling Podcast. And Goose, I need to correct you on that because every time you've been saying it, you've been saying It's Real Wrestle Cast instead of It's Really Wrestling Podcast, bro. So I just wanted to IRWP.us. You can find us there as well. So share, get the word out, guys. Thank you so much for continuing to support us. And that's all I got, man. Just, keep it real ish.
Yeah, no kidding. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Again, visit us on IRWP.us. Donate to our Patreon account, or just hit us up in general. Like, comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. You know the typical wording for all this stuff. What's up? We'd love to hear from you guys. But more importantly, we like to end every episode with some peace. Everybody, enjoy one another. Go out and say hi to one another. Go out and say, how you doing? Next time you buy a beer, say, hey, do you listen to IRWP? No? Oh, all right. Well, you should. How you doing? You doing okay? Ask somebody how their day is going. Next time you go out and you go buy beer, you go buy something from the gas station, just say, hey, how's your day going? Oh, all right, good. Glad you're having a good day. Because we like to keep the peace, but more importantly than keeping the peace, we like to keep it real. Y'all, take it easy.